That's all you're here for, isn't it? You don't know who I am. More free stuff, please.
We all know who you are. Right, so joined on the sofa by Gareth David-Lloyd. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you very much.
Very good. How's con been for you so far?
Lovely. It's busy, but it's just great. I brought my kids. I used to bring my kids to the bigger ones where there's lots to look at. My little girl's well into her DC at the moment, so
oh wow,
she's Harley Quinn and my 2-year-old's Joker.
Yeah? Wow. So are they enjoying it?
I haven't let them see all of Suicide Squad. Don't panic.
No. No tweets in, please. Right. Have you seen any fantastic cosplayers around that you've thought, wow, they look absolutely spot on?
A couple of good Dragon Age people have come up to the table. I voiced a character on Dragon Age, and there's lots of good elves and mages out there.
I mean, let's do Torchwood. Let's start there. You play Ianto Jones in Torchwood.
That's right.
First off, I want to ask, who is your favourite all-time Doctor?
It's got to be, for nostalgic reasons, Sylvester McCoy, because he was a Doctor that I grew up with when I was a little boy. So.
Have you met Sylvester?
I have a few times. I've seen Sylvester play the spoons.
Wow.
Yeah, in Canada, we all went out for something to eat and a drink, and he ended up playing the spoons on every other customer's head in the restaurant. It was good fun.
Sounds like Sylvester to me. What do you think makes Torchwood stand out from the rest of the Doctor Who spin-offs?
Oh, it's the best one, obviously. And
oh, yeah, that's it.
I mean, you've got some people from class here, which is nice. Basically, Torchwood in school, but there you go. No, I'm only joking. It's a great show. It was the first one to do it, really. It was the first proper spin-off, I think.
Yeah.
And I think what they tried to do was quite ambitious and daring. You know, with the sort of the Who universe is quite difficult. You know, everyone wants to be pleased, and you do anything Doctor Who related, it's got to be good, or the fans don't like it very much. So
exactly.
I think we were lucky that as many people liked it as they did, and it went on as long as it did.
So did you originally go for the part of Ianto, or was there any other role that you were kind of thinking that I'd like to play him or she? Or
well, no, Ianto was originally called Idris Hopper when I first got the script.
Right.
And then I was auditioning for this guy who I assumed was going to die quite early on in the first sort of series, because he only had a couple of lines in the script. And I got the part, and then as a nod to a character that I played in the past for Russell, Russell changed the name to Ianto Jones, and that's how Ianto was invented, really.
Was invented. So have you from the story arcs that Ianto's been in, what one have you found most challenging, but yet so rewarding in the same aspect?
That whole sort of section after the Cybergirl episode in Series 1, that was a difficult arc to play, because he suddenly goes from betrayer of the group and secret keeper to a sort of a fully fledged member of the team, and I think a lot of how that happened was skipped over. Yeah. Luckily, thanks to Big Finish and Joe Lidster, there's been a brilliant audio drama that's out there called Broken, which fills in all the gaps of those and makes that art quite logical. So I was quite grateful for that.
Did you enjoy recording that?
I did. I'm working a lot with Big Finish at the moment, and
right.
It's just a shame, these brilliant adventures aren't on the screen, because the writing and the storytelling is equally as good, I think, as the series, the television series. So
there's a lot more for Ianto to come in Big Finish, then, I take it.
A lot more, yeah.
A hell of a lot more.
Yeah, no, I think quite a bit more. I've just done Torchwood Before the Fall with Tracy Ann Oberman, which is about Torchwood 1.
Yeah.
And Ianto before Torchwood Cardiff. And and I think something was announced last night. The Office That Never Was is the next Ianto adventure for Big Finish. So I can't recommend them enough. They're really good.
Absolutely brilliant. What elements of Ianto did you like playing, basically?
I love the dry wit, the sort of the sort of hard exterior that he wears, which he deflects anything sort of serious or is something that he might find but might be sensitive to. He deflects it with this brilliant, sharp, dry wit.
Yeah.
That was my favourite aspect to him, I think.
One I was always thinking of, did you ever figure out what Ianto was doing with the stopwatch?
I've got an idea, but I think it's more fun to let people's imaginations run wild, rather than sort of say, it's this. It's going to maybe shatter a lot of people's ideas. Yeah. So I think keeping it ambiguous is a lot more fun.
Wicked. I mean, have you got a favourite Torchwood episode that maybe you weren't in, or?
I loved, my favourite episode is Countryside for a load of reasons. I love the fact that there aren't any aliens or monsters in it. It's just Welsh people, the sort of antagonists. And it was the first time the Ianto got out of the hub. We got to spend a week as a cast in Craigenhorse Castle up in the Brecon Beacons. And it was a time that we all really bonded and got to know each other. And I felt personally as, like a fully fledged member of the team.
Like a family.
Yeah.
Big family.
Yeah, and it also was one of Chris Chibnall's scripts, and I think he's amazing.
Do you keep touch with any of the Torchwood cast?
Well, I mean, I suppose we would if we didn't meet up at conventions, but we meet up so often around the world at various conventions that we don't sort of need to. We always end up bumping into one another.
So, where do you think Ianto would be if he didn't die? Sorry about the spoiler.
In charge, I think. In charge of everything.
You reckon?
The world, yeah.
Yeah?
That's a good question, actually, and I suppose that it depends on sort of how the other stories panned out, but where he would sort of fit into it. But I'd like to think he'd be still sort of plugging away at Jack's side, trying to make the relationship work.
Yeah.
Still rolling his eyes and still, shooting out dry one-liners here and there.
I like it. What do you think of the shrine/plaque that was put up in Wales in your character's remembrance?
I think it was very deserved, and there it is.
There we go.
There it is. There we go. No, it's
I think
very flattering, and gobsmacking the fact that it's still there. I can't believe it's still there.
And it's still there. So we had this conversation. We were like, is it still actually there?
It's still there. I mean, it's a bit faded, but I do go down every other day and
you need to
maintain it and wipe all the laminates, wash all the knickers. Replace the flowers.
So we are waiting to hear who the next Doctor Who is, seeing as Peter Capaldi's, not going to play the role. If you was offered the role, would you take it?
Of course I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How would you play the Doctor?
I really enjoy what sort of Matt did, and he took tiny elements from all the sort of previous Doctors and sort of rolled them up, and some of the present more than others, but found a Doctor that he was sort of comfortable in and was allowed to sort of run free with, I suppose, take the ball and run with it. And I'd probably start with that same sort of basis. I'd look at my biggest influences from the previous Doctors and create something new from that.
So would you have you got a kind of look in your head what you'd like your Doctor to look like, your character? Yeah,
it's quite taboo, actually. If you've seen Taboo recently, that's
Taboo,
sort of,
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, that's the sort.
So it'd be like Taboo, kind of esque.
Yeah, something along those lines. Maybe not quite as
dark,
it's quite as menacing, but maybe if I was the Master, that's an ambition of mine, to play the Master. But I think something like Tom Hardy wears in Taboo would be a great sort of Master outfit.
Oh, brilliant! I like.
You agree?
Yeah. Do we all agree on that? Yeah.
They're just waiting for their free gifts. It's like.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, do you know what? Can we? They're not Gareth. So basically, the feelers were put out on Twitter to have some questions put forward to our Twitter TARDIS. And I just wondered if you'd like to dip your hand into our Twitter TARDIS. The top comes off. And pick a question out there, read out who it's from, and enjoy that question.
Okay. Here we go.
In fact, I think you've got someone else's questions there. So
let me read it anyway, just for fun.
Just read it for fun, man. Read it for fun.
Kelly Miller.
Yeah.
Have you been asked to play a guest character in Supergirl yet?
So have you?
Yes. No, not yet.
So
yet. I like yet.
Would you like to?
Of course I would, yeah.
So any kind of Marvel, say DC, or say anything like that, would you like to play a part in any of there?
Yes, especially a lot of the DC stuff that's coming out at the moment. My little girl, she's become quite DC obsessed, so.
Hero, villain, would you have a preference, or would you kind of like, I'm open to anything?
It's always a villain for me. I like to play a villain.
Anyone particular in mind?
Ooh. That's a good one. I'll come back to you on that.
Yeah, but that's okay. I have the actual Twitter TARDIS questions here. Ryan Rigby has put, what is your favourite Torchwood story?
My favourite Torchwood story, it has to be the whole arc of Children of Earth, really.
Yeah.
The third season. I thought that was just beautifully played without any sort of jilts or stalls in it. I love the fact that it was one story over 5 episodes, and one that gets you, gets you there.
Stabs you in the heart. We have got a Kamina Dawnstar has put, when are you coming to Australia again? Is Solace going to break my heart further?
Yes, I'll be going to Australia again at some point, I'm sure.
Nice.
And yes, probably he will.
Max has asked, if asked, would Gareth say yes to being the Doctor on Doctor Who? Well, we've asked that one, so yes, he would. So what I'm going to say now, guys, if any of you out in our audience would like to ask Gareth a question, please raise your hand now. So I'm coming out to this audience.
Hello.
Hello.
In your honest opinion, from Ianto's point of view, what would he say would be the pros and cons of working at Torchwood?
The pros and cons. The cons would be being stuck in the office all day, especially in those earlier series. And it's been the pros would be getting to snog the boss. To choose two.
I don't do that.
Next question.
Next question.
Hello.
Hello.
If you could play any other character from Torchwood and Doctor Who, male or female, who would it be and why?
From the whole Whoniverse.
Yeah.
The Master, I think, because
That's a good one.
Yeah, definitely the Master.
So, have we got any more questions from our audience? Wow, there's some over there. I will run over. Yeah, that was running.
Okay. Hey, if you were going to revive any of the characters from the Who universe, including Torchwood, who would you revive and why?
Me.
Hoping for a better answer.
Brilliant.
Because then I'd be employed.
Next one.
Hi. On the set of Torchwood, was there any practical jokes going around? Because I hear John Barrowman is quite keen on that.
Never. It was a very, very professional set. Never any practical jokes.
Nothing
Never.
ever happened on set that was funny remotely.
Nothing. It was
Nothing.
all very, very serious.
How much-
there were lots of practical jokes. I mean, most of the stories you'll find online now. There's not many that I can repeat here in front of all these children.
No.
But the moustache one was one of my favourites. It was like the scene after my death, where Gwen's in the gym full of bodies and she pulls back the plastic covers of Ianto and Jack. She pulls back Jack's cover and John's wearing a massive handlebar moustache and he's got this expression on his face. It was particularly funny because the scene took about an hour to set up. So when that happened, we had to reset up the whole thing.
Oh.
It was a cross between laughing and crying, I think.
Any more questions? Time for one more. Oh, go on.
In the first series, you noticed that you make a load of coffee. How much did you make over the entire series of Torchwood?
9.3 gallons.
That's so exciting.
I've been waiting years for somebody to ask me that question.
Who is your favourite co-worker on Torchwood?
Ianto's or Gareth's? Gareth's. Owen. Just because I'm involved with something at the moment. I can't say too much. That I've had to sort of have a look at that relationship between Owen and Ianto, and you've got the two most sarcastic people in Torchwood. I think putting them together is a fun idea, and hopefully that you should see some of that soon.
Why was Countryside your favourite episode to film?
Why was
Countryside your favourite episode to film?
For a start, I got to get out of the suit and into some like comfy jeans and camping clothes. Shut up!
Are you a Star Wars fan?
I am a Star Wars fan.
Not that big.
Not that much. I want underscoring my whole panel. And the fact that we got to go and spend time together in the Brecon Beacons as a cast. The first time we really got to bond with each other, and that was, it was nice.
Well, Gareth, that's what we've got time for, I'm actually afraid. One more question. What do you prefer? Do you prefer being on screen, or are you really enjoying your voice acting?
They both have their pros and cons. I mean,
Okay.
being on the screen is I love being part of a sort of a whole picture. When
Yeah.
you're doing something on screen, whether it's film or TV, you're part of a whole. You're making a story as everything as you can. Everything's there: the visual, the audio, everything except for the smells. And audio is great because you don't have to shave before going to work, and you don't have to spend an hour in makeup or 2 hours in costume. You sort of rock up and do it. And it's a slightly different discipline. I enjoy the discipline of audio. We've got sort of less tools to tell a story. You're sort of more restricted.
Wow, that's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I'm looking forward to the new one, which is coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining me on the MCM Buzz so far. Round of applause, Gareth David-Lloyd, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Remember to like, subscribe, share, press that notifications bell so you don't miss out on anything. We've got much more coming, more Bean Boozle. We'll see you soon, Birmingham. Goodbye.
Can you hear the river now? Can you hear that muddy water flow? Water flow. Can you feel the water now? Can you feel the water at your toes? At your toes. At your toes. Push a coin in a broken tree. Push a coin and really wish to see. Wish to see. See the sunlight shining bright. See the sunlight shining bright on me. On me. on me.